academics coach, just to better align with the duties of that particular role. So welcome. And again, I want to officially thank Ms. Crystal Moore, our 8th grade assistant principal, and she is here as our administrator tonight to provide support, and she's going to assist me with your questions as we move throughout the presentation. I didn't actually put a QR code here, but if you check the chat, you will see that there is a Google form. And the Google form is there. If you have questions, you can put it on the Google form. Particularly if I'm not able to get to all questions, you can also ask questions in the chat. So keep that in mind. If I can get, as you enter, if you could please mute your microphones, that would be very helpful. And I'm also going to remind you again that we are recording this and it will be posted on the Dorothy Ham website under the Gifted Services Department. So if you miss any part, if you want to review this recording, you would be able to go to the Dorothy Ham website under Gifted Services, and there will be a recording of today's or this evening's session. So again, going back to the Google form, if I'm not able to answer your question, you can complete that form. It is in the chat tonight, but make sure you include your name, your student's name, the best contact information that you can give me, how you would like for me to reach you. And so also at the end of the presentation, I'll provide you with some information how you can also follow up with me. All right, let's go ahead and move on with our presentation. So the objective of this evening's meeting, I'm going to provide you an overview of the advanced academics and talent development, the screening and identification process. And so again, this is the screening identification process for our gifted program that you will hear referred to as the Advanced Academics and Talent Development Department now. All right, let's take a look at the areas of identification for gifted services in Arlington Public Schools. We do look at specific content areas for grades K through 12. The subject areas that we screen in would be English, mathematics, science, and social studies. And we also look at students in fine arts beginning in grades 3 through grades 12. And it's specifically for visual arts and general music. So those are the areas where we identify students. Each year, we actually screen the total population. So the school staff will look at every student and they work together on teams to talk about different students, particularly those who have not been identified at all, or students who have not been identified in specific areas. So they may have, for example, been identified in English and social studies and maybe not in science and math. So we ask our teachers to look at those students every year. Now at Dorothy Ham, I do have 2 rounds of gifted screening. The first round, round 1, I actually had screening meetings during the month of February. So if you received a letter from me back in December about screening, those meetings have ended and I've already started sending out letters. So if you haven't received one with a decision letter, expect to get it either Friday or Monday. So again, that is for round 1. And that would be for those students who are either new to our district and maybe you came before November, or you're returning to the district and you did not your student did not take the COGAT assessment when they were here in 4th grade. So they would have been screened back in November. And so depending upon the results of those, for those students who had a score of 120 in any specific area, then I would have sent a letter home with students. Okay, so that's round 1. But what I'm focusing on tonight would be round two. And so round two, we'll be accepting referrals. And so there are a number of different ways that students can be referred. Classroom teachers can refer students, other school personnel, other than the classroom teacher, that could be administrators or anyone else. Parents, as a parent or guardian, you're able to refer your student. We also have community leaders, and oftentimes that could be leaders who work with Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, or with after school programs, or community centers. There may be representatives there who decide that they want to refer a student. Students themselves, they can refer themselves. So we also have, if students believe that, hey, I would like for the screening committee to evaluate me this year, they also can self-advocate. Referrals are accepted beginning now up until April 1st for this particular school year. So we'll take a look at that. But that information, if you're looking for a referral and you're interested in having, or if you want to refer your student, you're able to go to the DHMS website. If you look at the Gifted Services tab, and there is a section for the identification page. And on that identification page, you will find a referral, parent referral form. And so, or it's a referral form, but if you're a parent, you will just check the box that says parent. But that same referral form would be used. If you're a parent, if a community leader, students could use that same form. And it is a PDF. So you would just print the form, you can sign it, send it back with your student, you can email it to me. If you do have difficulty downloading that, printing that, you can always email me and I'll send you a Google Doc if that's easier for you. All right. So once the student is actually referred, then my job as the AAC is to support the teachers, and I create a portfolio for each of the students who have been referred. And so when I'm creating this portfolio, I'm focusing on four main components. So in Arlington, we don't take just one data point, like one test score, and make a determination about a student. We actually look at them holistically. So let's take a look at those four key components and how we develop a profile for the students. We look at nationally normed assessments, school-based achievements, student behaviors, characteristics, and demonstrated performance. But I'm going to go into detail a bit so you can better understand those. As I mentioned before, one of the things, the nationally normed assessment, we do a universal screener, and that's the COGAT that we do for middle school. But at the elementary level, students may have taken the Naglieri at the early elementary grades. They may have taken the COGAT as well. And so we have that particular information. As students are new and they come into Arlington and they don't have it, and then in the middle school grades, we offer that COGAT. Now, if you're coming in and you have other assessments that, for example, the WISC, or something that you are bringing from outside that you've had them tested, or maybe they were in a previous school district, you're able to share the WISC or the Kaufman brief. For example, those are a couple that we would also consider. So if you have that information and you want to share it with me, be sure to do that. But we are looking at those nationally normed assessments. Secondly, we're looking at school-based achievement, and so we're pulling out the data specific to content areas. So, for example, at the county level, we have the SOLs. That's the Standard of Learning for Virginia, and it's based on the standards that students are learning. That's an assessment given in the spring. So we're looking at those scores. Students take the Virginia Growth Assessment. They took it at the beginning of the year and middle of the year. So those are included in their portfolio. as well as the NWEA math and reading map assessments. And if you're wondering where to find those, if you were at the last PTA meeting, I think they shared it, but if you look in Parent View under Documents, you will be able to locate the files so that you can see what your student scores are. And if you need assistance with reading those, you're welcome to follow up with me as well, and I'll be able to help you to give you a better understanding of what their proficiency level is, would be on those particular assessments. We also look at the school level. So your students are having ongoing formative and summative assessments in their class. So basically those are, could be tests, could be quizzes, essays, projects. Those are the things that we're looking at from their classes. And then what about at the individual level? Maybe your student has been recognized for some type of honor or distinctions. We've recently taken the AMC8, so we have some students who were recognized nationally based on the AMC8 scores. Students participate in the science fair, history day. Maybe we had some students that placed for math counts. PTA reflections winners, that's one. And we also have students who are, in terms of band honors, would be another distinction. So any type of school-based achievement. Thirdly, we're looking at student behaviors and characteristics. So the local screening committee, I actually chair the local screening committee, but we have a counselor from the grade level, an administrator. We have the teachers of that particular student. Oftentimes, we also have the math or reading coach present. If your student has an IEP, we'll have a special ed teacher as part of the committee, or if your student is an English language learner, we also will have maybe an English language case manager. So the committee is a local committee comprised of Dorothy Ham staff. And one of the things that they do is we have the teachers to complete a gifted behavior commentary form. So there are gifted behaviors across 4 different categories. I'm going to share them with you in a moment, just so you can get an idea. And teachers reflect on student performance in the classroom, some of the behaviors that they observe, and they're able to share information with the committee based on some of those specific behaviors. But we don't always see all the behaviors of our students, and so we allow you as parents to also provide us with information. So one of the things that I'll provide as well is a parent information form. And so this gives you an opportunity to share any examples for the screening committee that we may not be able to observe during the school day. So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to share some of the things that you're seeing at home. Maybe you're participating or taking your student on field trips on the weekends. Maybe you're traveling and you're surprised at some of the things that they are able to share with you. And so maybe you want to talk about those things. Maybe some of the extracurricular things that they're doing not related to school. You want to share that information with us. So as you're completing the parent information form, I want to stress to you how important it is to think through and provide any additional commentary, and maybe just not check off the rating sheet, but also provide specific information of examples. That would be helpful information for the screening committee. I mentioned to you earlier that the teachers are completing what we call GBCs, or gifted behavior commentary forms. And these are the 4 categories that they are assessing your student on based on their experiences with them in their classes, their exceptional ability to learn. Look at some of the sentence stems and some of the criteria that they may look at. And this is not an exhaustive list. There are a lot more for each of these 4 categories, but this gives you an example of what they're looking at for the exceptional ability to learn. Is this student able to consider multiple points of view other than his own? So as they're reading a particular text, the teacher is assessing how well that student is able to do that. What about their exceptional application of knowledge? Are they able to communicate some of the things that they're learning in class and able to do role playing, or are they able to demonstrate through artwork? So again, there are many, many, many criteria that the teachers will get an opportunity to look at to help them to better understand where this child falls or for this particular category. And one of the things that I asked them to do is they rate them for each category: exemplary, proficient, developing, emergent. And so that's one of the ways that we determine um, what the student's strengths are as it relates to these gifted behaviors. And then the last two: exceptional creative productive thinking, and then finally, exceptional motivation to succeed. So those are the four categories that your students' teachers will be creating, or they really provide specific examples based on those four categories. The final category that we look at has to do with demonstrated performance. And now we're looking at collecting samples of work from your students. So the teacher, we ask for, show us the student's best work. We're looking at growth. And so oftentimes they'll put a sample in at maybe at the beginning, something that they've done early on, and then they'll, provide another example or so, just to show how the student is able to grow. One of the things that they may use as an example. We do have gifted resources that our school district purchased and that we use at Dorothy Ham. We have Vanderbilt Language Arts units. We have a number of different resources that if you look on our differentiation report that's on the gifted services page, it'll list a lot of the resources that your students are using in the classroom. These are resources that sometimes I deliver them in the classroom, but oftentimes, more often, teachers are trained and I provide training to teachers and they are able to utilize these resources with the students. And so they will bring samples to the gifted screening meeting of how your student responded to some of these gifted resources. And so that helps us to really evaluate how is their critical thinking? Um, what is their analytical thinking like? What is their creativity like? And so using these gifted resources and how they respond to it. So we're pulling those samples from their classwork. So not only do we have the screening process I mentioned for the content areas, but we also do it for the fine arts, and it begins in grade 3. And so you'll have an idea of what are we looking at for the fine arts, such as visual arts and music. What does that screening process look like? Well, I usually ask for a portfolio. Oftentimes we have students, let's say, for example, art. Oftentimes we have students and they may be in the art class, they may be in the art club, maybe they take outside art classes on the weekends or on the evenings, and I ask them for a portfolio and to look at a number of different types of art pieces that they have produced. And we will have our art teacher and an artist to look at that, to assess it and to evaluate whether or not it shows advanced ability in art. So we're looking at the portfolio. Again, if the student is in an art or a music class, we're looking at those grades as well. And then the fourth thing, we're also looking at the parent information form again. And oftentimes, if it's art or music, we say, oh, my student participated in an outside art fair. And here would be some pictures. They won this award. Here's a copy of the, you can see a picture where they were presented with a certificate or an award or trophy or those types of things. So we get all types of supporting evidence that parents sometimes share, because some of these things might be done outside of the school day. But again, if your student is participating in these art contests, and I encourage that a lot because we do scholastic art competitions. We also have not just the scholastic art competition, but we also have the PTA reflections. Those are great opportunities for students who are interested in art to showcase their art. Even with the band and the music, when we're looking at the honors band and the concert performances, those are other things that we look at. And we ask our students or parents to help put together a portfolio that can be reviewed by the committee. And some people wonder, well, why would I even be concerned about being identified in art or music? What does that look like? Well, we still differentiate for art and music. If they are in the art class, then the differentiation would take place there. But also, we encourage students to participate in some of those open-ended projects. So that are happening at the school, and we advertise all the time. And so that's one of the ways that even if they're not participating in an art class, they can still be able to demonstrate their talent. Same thing with the music. We have music classes. We have band, chorus, orchestra. We also have Act Two. So we have those after school music programs as well. And this gives students another opportunity where they can showcase their talents. As well as we at the end of the year, I think we're doing Frozen Junior. I think it's Frozen Junior. So again, this is another opportunity for students to showcase their creative abilities as it relates to music. All right, how are you going to get the communication for the identification process? Well, once the committee meets, and what happens is at the end of the referral process, it's usually about 90 instructional days. And so the school-based screening committee will actually meet and review the portfolio to determine whether or not the student will be determined eligible for gifted services. And one of the things in Arlington Public Schools, it is content specific. So we're looking at student strengths, and they may be identified in all four content areas, or they may only be identified in two areas. It just depends based on the review of the committee and if they are demonstrating exemplary work in those specific content areas. But identification decisions are sent to parents. Generally, if a student, we have determined as a committee that the student is not eligible, I will follow up with the parent with a call and usually ask, would you like for me to mail the letter home or send it home with your student? But parents always have an option, even if the student is identified. I do ask them if you would like more information. They're always eligible to or able to call me. So again, if they are found eligible, we do encourage them to take those intensified courses. But I will say, even if your student is not found eligible, they are still able to sign up for intensified courses. We are a talent development model at Arlington Public Schools, so we still encourage students and provide support for them. So it doesn't mean if they're not identified as eligible for gifted services in a particular content area that they can't sign up for intensified. But what happens if they're found eligible? As the AAC, I plan and work with teachers to provide that daily differentiation. for those students when they've already mastered the grade level content? What does that look like? So it doesn't necessarily mean providing them with the next grade level work. It just means how can we increase the rigor with the standards that they are being taught? How can we have them to think even deeper based on the standards that they are being taught for that grade level? And so one of the things that I'll also do is uh, I'm providing support, different grade levels, different subjects. It really just depends on the need. And so although your student may or may not have worked with me, that means I would have worked with their teacher, but I still work with students. I have a group I'll see tomorrow for 8th grade World Geo. So keep in mind, I am still working with students. It just depends on requests from teachers or what they need from me. As I had mentioned earlier, if students are not found eligible, I do follow up with a call to explain the process and explain to parents that there is an appeal process. There's level 1 where it starts at the school level, and the parent would be able to appeal with the principal, and the principal will review the committee's decision and take a look at the portfolio to evaluate it. And so that would be level 1. And generally, I'll send an email to the parent and say, if you're interested in appealing, then you are welcome to respond to this email. And then hopefully that makes it easier. But I tend to try to explain to the parent what criteria uh, went into the decision to help them to better understand. But you still have that option if you decide. Level 2, if you are still not happy with the level 1 appeal through the principal, the level 2 would move to the supervisor of advanced academics. And I can just from previous experience. Oftentimes, the supervisor will also bring in the supervisor for the district for that content area. So if there is a concern with, let's say, English, as they review the portfolio, they will also bring in the supervisor of English. So several supervisors for our county department will review that. Just so you can get an idea of the screening timeline, uh, I've already done the fall. This is the winter informational session back in November, around the 13th, 14th, 15th, I think it was, for all the new students or returning students. They took the COGAT. Parents were informed, and teachers, we started collecting all of that information. And this month, during the month of February, I had the round 1 meetings. And so now what we're doing, we're getting ready to prepare for round 2, which will be in May through June. But at this time, I'm going into different teams on different teams to talk with the teachers to say, now it's time for you to start looking at some of these students who may not be gifted in your particular content area. And they start to collect information on those students, and they will refer many of those students. So again, I do want to make it clear, you don't need the teacher's referral. You can refer your own student. However, many times a parent will have sent a referral, and then by April 1st, I'm like, oh, wow, this teacher also referred the same student. And I just provide that information during the meeting. I'll say, the parent referred their student, but this teacher completed a referral as well. But this is not a requirement that that both of those things happen. You are able to complete your own referral. And I want to make it clear, even if, and sometimes parents just ask, because it's very difficult, and they'll say, do you think my child this is a good fit for them? And they may just ask their professional opinion for that particular content area. So I think that would, it would be a great idea if you're interested, if you don't feel comfortable making that determination, then it would be good, particularly as conferences come up, to get an idea if they feel that the student is demonstrating some of those gifted behaviors that we just talked about in this presentation. The round two meetings, as it mentioned, the end of May, first week in June generally is when they're going to be scheduled, and then the appeals anywhere between June through August. So that's the timeline. Just so you'll know, we have a number of parent resources and this is posted on the Dorothy Hand website for gifted resources. So there's the Virginia Association for the Gifted, and they have some wonderful resources, parent resources. They often have free meetings as well that parents can attend. If you want to find out more information about how to support your gifted student, that's one organization. The National Association for the Gifted, NAGC, huge organization. They also have a lot of resources, and then supporting emotional needs of the gifted. So we have some of our students who are experiencing maybe some challenges with social emotional learning, such as perfectionism, or we have some kids who may be underachievers. And so you're looking for strategies. Just so you'll know, I'm also a resource for that. So you're always welcome to contact me for support with those things. But just know that these organizations are also out here. We do have a website on the Arlington Public Schools, and they have a lot more information than I have posted on our gifted services page for Dorothy Ham, but you're welcome to check out the gifted services page, and there is an Instagram page as well. They usually post information. If you would like to follow up with me, my email is regina.boyd@apsva.us, and it says 707, but my area code is 703-228-2929. So again, 703-228-2929. Our supervisor for advanced academics is Ms. Cheryl McCullough. And so you're also welcome to reach out to her. And so it is her first and last name with the period in between. And so 703-228 is that number, but her last four digits, the extension is 6159. So again, you are welcome to contact us. And so now I'll take questions. I can't see you, but Miss Moore is here. And so Miss Moore, if you've got some questions, I am ready for any questions. Lots of information here tonight.
So far, I have not seen any questions. I think if they have them, they've been submitting them on the form, possibly.
Okay.
We can wait a few minutes if anybody wants to type in any questions.
Okay.
But so
And you probably
far,
can see them, so they may raise their hand. They could also
yes.
do that.
Yes, nothing has happened yet. We have at least 23 people here with us, maybe more. So no one has posed any questions tonight so far in the chat. But however, they do have the form, and I think they may access. Oh, here we have one. If you're in the
Okay.
gifted program in 6th grade, are you automatically in the program in 7th grade?
Absolutely. Throughout your matriculation at Arlington Public Schools through 12th grade.
Yes.
So that is correct.
I will say, sorry, I have a dog. um, Regina, did you address anything in terms of the course selection for next year and how that aligns with gifted? We definitely had questions about that coming from elementary to middle school, questions about the intensified and how if you're in the gifted or not in the gifted program, how that would work since we will be offering those in our upcoming 6th grade courses. Did you want to address that at all?
Right. So I did mention it, but I'll definitely reiterate that for those students who are in the gifted program, we encourage you strongly, if you are identified as gifted, to register for the intensified courses. However, if you are not identified, you still are able to register for the intensified courses. Now, this year we have 7th and 8th grade intensified, but beginning next year, we will also have 6th grade. So we will offer Intensified for 4 content areas, and 3 for 7th grade, because they have social studies, uh, ELA, and science. And in 8th grade, World Geo is not an intensified course because it's already a high school course, so it's not offered as intensified. And then math would be determined by the county math department. But you could sign up for English as well as science intensified for grade 8. So the course request forms, I think they were all due by last week. So that information, but again, if you've heard some new information and you are interested in making a change, we were told today that is still an option. So I would suggest that you reach out to your student's counselor about making any recommendations or changes to the course request form. But again, for all 3 grades, 6, 7, and 8, we will be offering intensified courses. Intensified courses, it does not mean additional work. It means different work. It means differentiated, so that if students already understand the basic information, then what happens is students are expected to explore those concepts deeper, using some of the creative and critical thinking strategies, problem solving strategies, and many of the resources that the district has available. And so we use those to help support those students.
Thank you. You've already answered, I think you answered 2 of the questions that came up after, where you explained the significance of intensified and is it any different content. You do have at least 2 questions that are similarly asking if you are qualified as gifted in elementary school, whether it's in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, when you come to middle school, are you still in the gifted program? I think people are just seeking clarity with that.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that we've asked, because we recognize that through Parent View, you can't see that. And so that's one of the things that we've requested through the county, that it be something that in the future that's posted as well, either somewhere in Parent View when you're looking, that it'll show you all of the content areas that your student has been identified. And so again, if you're not sure, you're always welcome to follow up with me, and I can let you know if they are identified in all content areas. If they are, there's nothing that you need to do. If you recognize that your student is only identified in 1 or 2 and you would like them to be evaluated in the others, and you're not sure if they've been identified in all 4 content areas, you're welcome to, again, follow up with me. I can let you know, and then you would be able to complete a referral, and we can evaluate them this year on any areas that they haven't already been identified.
The question is wondering, do intensified courses have homework? I was just about to type it in, but that, just like in other classes, if the homework, we do try to take full advantage of the 80-minute block of time that students have.
Mhm.
Plus, we provide the Phoenix time, but they're asking about intensified courses and if there is like a lot more extra homework with that.
There should not be a lot more homework as a result of that, because again, many of the students who are in the intensified courses, they would be able to utilize their Phoenix time. You got to think we're on the block schedule. So with the exception of 5th period, they usually have additional time, and particularly if it's a bigger assignment, they're going to have extra time anyway, that they'll be able to use that Phoenix time to complete a lot of what they need to have done. So I think it's a matter of time management, but there is no expectation because they're in intensified that there's a lot more homework. No, as a matter of fact, as much as possible, I encourage teachers to utilize the time that's available, but at the same time, we don't want to shock them when they get to high school either. And then there's this huge difference. So it doesn't mean that there's no homework, but we try to make certain that we keep in mind what is the recommended amount, particularly when a lot of our students are participating in activities and they have so many other things. And I try to use myself as an example of, coming home and with so much to do, and then even planning for the next day and all the other things that, we have to do. And kids have to do those types of things too. So we try to be mindful.
All right, if there's
Other
any other
questions?
questions, I'm looking, a lot of them again are around that same question about elementary to middle, but I reiterated for you. What are additional resources the program offers to support gifted students academically? And then if you want to speak to, well, no, I think you covered that, but just they're looking for additional resources that the program offers to support gifted students.
Okay, so we do have the resources that the county purchases, but we also offer additional opportunities. For example, we did Science Olympiad this year. And so this was an opportunity for students who were interested in science. They were able to participate in a variety of challenges and tournaments. We had the Virginia History Day for those kids who really love social studies. And so they got an opportunity to really analyze primary sources and delve into whatever, you know, uh, topic in history interests them. So we had the science fair, and that was another opportunity. We had for those students who enjoy math. We had AMC 8 and Math Counts. I also offer the investment club for kids who are interested. So I think we have a number of clubs and activities that kids can participate in to continue to hone their skills, and and specifically it's very authentic. So, I think that helps because it takes it outside of the classroom and, it's more real world.
And I would completely second that these opportunities that she's just listed truly do elevate the amount of access that our students who are gifted. It gives them some additional real world experience. Model UN just had their local competition last weekend, and now this weekend I'm traveling with them to Williamsburg, where they will
Mhm.
continue that competition. And it's just fascinating to see our middle schoolers all dressed up and competing to to talk about things going on all over the world. So there are some real world application opportunities that happen.
Robotics team. I forgot about
Yes,
the robotics team.
robotics. Yes, let me put
Robotics
that in
team
there.
just competed. World Geo. They had the World GOB. So we did the GOB, and that was last week.
Yes.
And then there's another international competition. We had a student last year that was able to travel to Italy, had made it to the international competition and advanced to that level. And he was able to compete in Italy over the summer. So we offer a variety of activities to extend your student and to really help them to elevate in those content areas. Other questions?
I also wonder if that additional resources question, how might parents support their gifted students at home with their learning? If what resources could they utilize at home?
So I think the websites that I mentioned are really great because they know their kids in many ways. And so it's very parent friendly. A lot of the articles that are provided on the three websites that I shared earlier, which are also on the Dorothy Ham Gifted Services website. I think that if you are experiencing challenges with your student, or you have some things that you may think that your student is gifted, but they may be having, and maybe they're an underachiever, and you're thinking that they could probably do a lot more, and you need some support with that. So I think a lot of those resources are provided on the website, but I'm also here as a resource as well. And oftentimes parents call me, and I've got a small group now that I'm working with in terms of perfectionism. And so we're looking at what that looks like and what are some strategies to help those students. So hopefully those are some other strategies or resources that are helpful.
That is the last question that I see, and I think others probably are using the form with the questions that they have.
Okay. And again, I encourage you, if you have additional questions, you are welcome to follow up with me. You can leave a message or my voicemail if I don't pick up, or you can email me and I'll be sure to get back with you. So I think that's it. If we don't have anything else, again, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to review this, the recording will be posted on the Dorothy Hand website under Gifted Services, and you're welcome to go back and review the video. If you would just like to hear it again, for clarification, or you're welcome to call me either way. But thank you so much for coming, and thank